Hey guys, here's the second video of the day. So if you're following my channel, you'll know that I just put a video up a little bit ago. It was kind of heavy, and it talked about my dad. And if you need, this is a little disclaimer I'm going to give you right now. This video will have some trigger stuff in it. So if you can't handle it, it's in regards to suicide. If you cannot handle it, please turn this video off now. I won't be going into too much details about it. So you might be okay, but if this is something that's is going to set you off, please turn this video off. So anyway, here we go. So I put a video up a little bit ago. Gosh, it's only been about an hour or so, saying that my dad passed away a couple weeks ago. He had committed suicide. My daughter, Zoe, she's 22 years old. She lived with him. They were roommates, and she found him. She had spent the night at her boyfriend's house, came back the next morning to get some clothes, get ready for work, and he was sitting in the chair, and she had to deal with that. And I was on my way to, I live in Duluth, Minnesota. I was on my way to Hayward, Wisconsin when this happened. It was about 7 o'clock in the morning. I was just minutes from Hayward when my wife called me and told me to turn around and come back, that there'd been an issue. I live in Duluth. My dad and daughter lived in Brainerd. That's a 2-hour drive there. So I came back home, and we headed over there. And when I got there, Dad was already gone. And, you know, some of the family showed up. That was a shit show. Some people showed up. All they cared about was what they could get out of the house, and not caring about that Dad just left. So that sucked. I didn't take anything, didn't get anything, didn't want anything. So I walked away with nothing. And that's how I would have wanted it. And I always teased him. I said, if something happens to you, Dad, I got 2 hours to get over here and ransack the house. And it was a joke, you know, just messing with him. And unfortunately, it really happened. And of course, I didn't do that. But family, boy, you know, that family thing, when something like this happens, it's still pretty fresh because it was just 2 weeks ago. So this is a really hard thing to deal with. But to watch family turn into vultures like that, holy cow, I couldn't believe it. I'm not gonna name any names here, call anybody out, but it was a mess. So a couple weeks later, here I am. A lot of people saw the video that know me. My phone's been blowing up. They want to know a little bit more about what was going on. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that, I guess. They knew my dad. My dad and I were really close. We, even though he wasn't my biological dad, he's been my dad since I was born, and that's all I've known as a dad. So, you know, it's been a really hard 2 weeks, and I've never been around anything like this before. I've lost people unexpectedly, but never to suicide. This is the first time my family's been affected by suicide, and it's a horrible thing because it makes you question all the things you could have done that maybe you didn't do, or the things you could have said that you didn't say, things like that. So, anyway, this happened, you know, on a Monday he did this. My daughter found him on a Tuesday morning. And, it's just been really, really hard. You know, I live 2 hours away. My daughter's been coming over quite a bit. We're supporting her. I'm trying to put all my energy into, you know, just thinking of her and stuff, and not about myself or the loss of my dad. So that's where my energy's been going. I did have a little meltdown 2 days ago. The police called my wife and wanted to talk to me, and they only had her number. And a couple things happened with that. First of all, trigger warning again. Dad was an avid gun collector, and I was as well, but I have gotten out of guns. I don't like guns anymore, and I don't want them around me. And so I was getting rid of guns, and Dad had a lot of my guns that I had given him. They were his guns, but they were in my name. And unfortunately, one of those guns in my name is what was used. And that sucks. I can't even wrap my head around that. And they also wanted to tell me that there was a suicide note. Now, I was told by everybody at the scene that day there was no suicide note. So I don't know where this got lost in transition. There was actually 2 suicide notes. One of them was written, he had some spelling errors, he threw it away, and then he rewrote it. And I'm not going to go into what it said or anything, but it wasn't anything about anybody. It was just about himself, and it was literally only about 5 words. And yeah, so Dad had been dealing with depression. Dad had been dealing with some money issues, which were his own doing, but they really weren't a big deal because I was supporting him in a lot of ways. So he still had some money in the bank. He wasn't broke. His car was paid off. He had a brand new Jeep Gladiator. He had a brand new boat paid off. He had his home mortgage payment because we sold the house that I had built him. He was living in my house that I had there for about 3-4 years, and we ended up selling that and trying to get him to move out here, which backfired completely. Ended up buying a house with my daughter. And now my daughter can't afford that house, so that's on the market, and we're making the payments on that house until it sells. But you know, he was dealing with money stuff. He was lonely, and every few years his PTSD would get bad. I think he always dealt with it, but it would get bad. He was a Vietnam vet, and he told some stories that weren't real fun to hear. And there's a Christmas story when he was in Vietnam on Christmas that some things happened that he can't get out of his head. And every now and then it gets real bad. Now, my dad used alcohol as a way to manage his depression and all, you know, his mental health stuff for a lot of years. He had quit drinking. We got him to quit. We got him on some medication. And he was doing better. But I don't know, something got bad with him again with the PTSD and all this stuff, and he ended up going to see a psychiatrist at the VA, Veterans Hospital, and they decided to put him on some new medication. He was on that medication for 5 days when this happened. So, and he had started drinking again on top of it. So now he's got this new medication, and who knows what that was doing to his brain. And one of the side effects of some of these mental health medications are increased risk of suicide, and which is really strange. You wouldn't think that, you know, if it's supposed to help you with depression, how's it going to make you do suicide? But it can do both. It can go either way. And I'm going to close my door. My dog's out there whining. He's old and he just does this all day, even though there is no issue. But anyway, he started that new medication, and I really do believe that medication had a big part of what probably happened here. I hadn't talked to him in a few days, and last time we talked, everything seemed fine. We said we loved each other, and was trying to get him to get his boat out here over by my house. Like I say, I live in Duluth, Minnesota. We have Lake Superior, but we also got some smaller lakes. I was going to see if I could get him out going fishing, and yeah, he said, yeah, it sounds good, but that didn't happen. So anyway, yeah, you know, I don't know what else to say about this, but like I said, since I put that video out a little bit ago and also shared it to social media, people are just asking about me, how am I doing, and how's my family doing. My daughter's doing way better, all things considered. She'll be here Sunday. She's been coming over quite a bit since this happened, which is great. Seeing her has been really good. My wife's doing really well. My wife and him were really close. Yeah, and I'm doing okay too, but it's definitely been affecting my sleep. And, you know, I find myself meditating quite a bit more and doing some breathing exercise quite a bit more lately, trying to just keep my mind somewhat at peace. I deal with anxiety, and I have a little bit of autism as well, and that makes my brain kind of race, is what I'm told by my doctor, is why my brain races, is the autism. That's how it affects me. So with those things, and then if something happens to me that puts some stress on my brain, it kind of kicks it in gear and makes things get worse. So my anxiety, even though I am taking a medication for that, has been worse lately. But I suspect this is just part of the grieving process, and it's just the way my brain does it, and I'll get through it. So, but it really, really sucks, you know, because we were really close, and we talked to each other and saw each other a lot. That's why he lives in Brainerd, because I moved there from the cities, and he wanted to be near me, and I wanted him near me. I moved to Duluth. I wanted him to come this way too, and it just didn't happen. He always talked bad about Duluth. Duluth is a great city, so it had something to do with when he was younger, and Vietnam era. So you can imagine he's in his mid-70s. There was the talk of nuclear war and stuff like that in schools when he was younger. And one of the things they said is that you could come up this way. It was safer than the cities. And it was a really crappy area, I guess, at the time. It's not now. I don't know what it was like then, but he seems to think it was crappy. And he remembers it from that era as a place to get away for something like that, but a horrible place to live. And he just couldn't get rid of that in his brain, that it maybe is a real nice area, and that's not how it is, at least not now. I can't say how it was then, but it's an amazing city, and I just wish he would have moved here. I feel like if he would have made the move, this wouldn't have been happening right now, because we'd be seeing him every single day and would have been able to tell if there was things going on that seemed out of place, or some sort of little nuances he might have had that would have let us know there's an issue and that we need to worry about this. So, but anyway, I'm doing okay. The family's doing okay. It just sucks. It just really, really sucks, because that's a guy that's been in my life, since day one, and now he's gone, and I don't have many of those people left, and he was somebody I was really close to. It's been a bad few years. It started with me losing my buddy Adam Proto. He moved up to Brainerd from the cities. We were best friends, and then he had an unexpected accident and passed away. And then, a few years later, my cousin Josh and I reconnected from when we were kids. We started hanging out. He turned into my best friend. He died in a motorcycle wreck a year ago or so. My grandma passed away, and everybody knows anything about me knows how close I was to my grandparents. My grandpa passed away many years ago. My grandma passed away. She was 89, and we didn't expect that. It was kind of a weird thing that happened with that. But and now Dad. This sucks. I guess I feel like the older I get, the more I'm gonna probably see that. But then again, I'm not seeing it happen really from old age either. My grandma, we could say that, but as you get older, you're going to lose more people, but I feel like the people I'm losing probably shouldn't have lost yet, So hopefully this quits, and, I don't have to deal with this anytime soon again. So, making a video. But anyway, guys, I'm doing okay. Thank you for asking. My wife's doing okay. Thank you for asking. My daughter, under the circumstances, is doing okay. Thank you for asking about that as well. And if any of you guys are feeling, like you need some help, reach out. I'd love to talk to you. Better yet, call the suicide hotline. I'll put that down below, and get some help. We don't need to lose anybody. We've lost enough. So anyway, I appreciate all you guys. I love all you guys. We'll talk to you in the next video. Take care.